Aloha, I'm Brickwood Galutaria, and welcome to Kupuna Power, a show for and about seniors. As always, we display the senior helpline phone number, 768-7700. Today, we talk about Kupuna cyber scams. Like phone scams, crooks try to get information that can unlock bank accounts or loosen credit cards through your computers. But unlike phone scams, internet fraud usually uses fear and intimidation rather than the promise of becoming instant millionaires. Here to talk about internet fraud is Hawaii Telcom's Information Security Officer, Beau Monday. Aloha, welcome to the show.
Oh, thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, Kupuna Power welcomes you. First question now, what are some of the scams perpetuated on our seniors through the internet that you deal with?
So I think that the three top ones, if I had to pick them, are phishing scams, where scams that are coming in over the email to seniors, trying to get them to click on a link that might be malicious, a website that might have viruses or something like that on them, or the emails may purport to come from some company that they deal with. So it might be the power company or something like that, and try to convince them that they owe some money or that they need to log in and fix some problem with their account. The second issue that we see quite often is fake tech support calls. So this is where it's not necessarily, they don't approach the Kupuna through the computer, but they'll call them up on the phone and say, your computer has a virus on it. You know, we're from Microsoft or some company like that. Your computer has a virus and we're here to help. Okay. And then they'll charge them money to fix their computer, but there's actually nothing wrong with their computer at all.
And what's the third?
The third is what we call ransomware. And this is where the hackers will install software on the computer that will lock them out of all their files.
Oh, really?
It'll make their computer unusable.
And you can do that over the telephone or online?
That has to be something online. So the Kupuna have either clicked on a link or they've followed some instructions, maybe through a fake tech support scam that has given the hackers the ability to install this crypto software on their computers.
Okay, so Kupuna, listen closely because we're going to drill down on all three of these. Okay, let's start with the phishing now. Phishing. Going to toss it out and reel her in.
Yeah.
Phishing, where does that come from? What is that? Because I know it starts, is it PHISH?
Yes.
We're used to the other kind of phishing.
Yeah, exactly. So this is fraud where the hackers will try to convince the victims that that there's something wrong with their account. Maybe they're pretending to be the power company or the phone company, for instance, and say your account's being suspended until you click on this link and fix this problem with your account. And at the other end of that link is some website that the hacker controls, and it might steal their credentials for their bank, for instance, and give them access to their bank account, or it might install some kind of virus on their computer that lets them access to their computer.
You know, computer work now allows our Kupuna to experience more stay-home aging,
Absolutely,
if you will.
Yeah.
You know, so for them to be pretty competent on computers, they got to know these things.
Yeah.
Right, because a lot of in the senior years, there's a lot of trust that goes on. So you're saying that there's a complete landscape of people who do this sort of work.
Absolutely. It's big business for criminals.
It is big business. And let's talk a little bit about that, because I think the Kupuna would want to know how their numbers are actually attained and, whether they're a part of a much bigger picture. Because obviously every violation is unto itself a huge one, but there's a huge landscape going on.
Right. And oftentimes it's not anything that they've done wrong. Like, for instance, the Target breach that happened earlier this year, my credit card, for instance, was impacted. I had to have my credit card replaced because I had shopped at Target over the holidays.
Okay.
So it's not necessarily anything that they do, but there is a marketplace for stolen credit cards and stolen information. There are websites out there that broker deals between the hackers and the people that want to use that.
Well, that's a very sophisticated industry.
Yeah.
It's probably developing as the day goes. As the new technologies come in, that particular predatory environment gets more sophisticated.
Absolutely.
What are some of the things that a kupuna should hear, should listen for, to kind of give them a sense that this is a scam?
I think anything that sounds urgent, like your power is going to be cut off, or some service is going to be shut down, or your bank account's going to be closed if you don't, follow the instructions. I think that's a big tip-off that something's wrong.
Okay.
Also, if the email address doesn't seem right, or if it's from somebody that you don't know but is claiming to be a representative of a company, that's also a tip-off that it's probably a scam.
If you're just tuned in, Hawaii Telcom's Security Information Officer, Beau Monday, joins us to talk to us more about internet scam. So the second one that we touched on was vital information?
The fake tech support scams?
Fake tech support,
yes.
Yeah, tell us about that.
So this is a very popular scam now, and I think it does target Kupuna specifically, where somebody will call up on the phone and say, this is George from Microsoft. We've detected a virus on your computer. We're here to help you fix it. And during the process of fixing it, the person on the other end of the phone, the scammer, will walk the victim through giving them access to their computer and installing viruses on their computer. So once they hang up, that hacker has access to their computer from then on.
So is it not regular for say a Microsoft or a company such as Microsoft to call you up and say?
Absolutely.
No?
They never do that. That's not the companies like Microsoft don't know what's going on your computer, so they would have no idea if you have a virus.
So that's the flag right there.
Absolutely. If somebody calls up and says, we've detected something on your computer, that is 100% scam.
Okay. Third and final one that we're talking about?
Yeah, the third one is the crypto locker, the ransomware. So there's a really popular one going on right now. It's a software called Crypto Locker. And the hacker, if they're able to get it on your computer, it locks you out of all your files. And sometimes it will stop you from doing anything with your computer. It'll come up with a screen that says this is the FBI or the local police department or Homeland Security or something like that. It looks a very official screen that says that your computer's been locked because we've found some illicit activity on your computer.
What do you do when you see this?
So don't panic. First of all, it's not the FBI or Homeland Security. It's a scam. So oftentimes there is nothing wrong with your computer, and it's just a screen that's being shown. So if you take it to someone that you trust or invite somebody in that you trust that knows about computers and see if there's really the ransomware on there. And if it is, you can take it in to a local computer place and have it fixed.
And I guess that's the takeaway, look for help.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
A lot of times people are embarrassed that they've been taken by these scammers and they're embarrassed to ask for help, but it's really critical. If you think that there's something fishy going on with your computer, definitely ask someone that knows about computers and don't be embarrassed. Like I said, I myself my credit card was taken last year through the Target scam, so it's about 75% of Americans were involved in some kind of cyber scam last year, so it's nothing to be embarrassed about.
Well, we appreciate you coming to share your information with us. We really do. We're fishing for information too. So Kupuna Power thanks you, and we look forward to perhaps another conversation another time.
I'd love to be back. Thank
you, Beau.
All right,
Thank
thanks.
you, Beau. Beau from Hawaii Telcom. Okay, it's Kupuna Power. We'll be back. Up next, Kupuna Power revisits Lay of Stars 2014, which inducted Napua Stevens into the Hawaiian Music Hall of Fame. But first, what Hawaii governor's campaign slogan was quiet but effective?
Every flower tells a story in color and perfume, but there's one that's filled with glory. Everywhere it blooms, pretty
Napua Stevens Poire, born Harriet Daisy Kawaiala Ka'oi o Napua Pi'ilani Stevens, was born on August 31st, 1918 in Hawaii and passed away on January 7, 1990 in Honolulu. She was a descendant of Charles Stevens, an American whaler who arrived in Hawaii in the 1840s. She was born one of 6 children of Robert Naea Stevens and Julia Ka'au'au Lahi Lahi o Ke'oho Kalole Bell. Her name, Napua, was a shortened version of her name, Kawaiala Ka'oi o Napua Pi'ilani, which means the perfumed water and the finest flower in the bouquet of Pi'ilani. She was of Scots and native Hawaiian ancestry. Her great-great-grandmother was a descendant of ancient native Hawaiian kings. Auntie Napua was a well-known entertainer, singer, hula dancer, musician, teacher, radio, TV personality, producer, and author. Noted for her hits such as Beyond the Reef and Hawaiian Hospitality in the late 1940s, she performed as a hula dancer in the group the Coral Islanders in the 1950s, and later embarked upon a successful media career as a radio DJ for her own show, KTRG, and presenting her own TV cooking show, Napua's Kitchen, in the 1960s. She made 2 guest appearances in the popular series Hawaii Five-0 and also presented Aloha Week and Kamehameha Day hula shows. In 1949, she recorded Beyond the Reef on the Bell Records label, like her other hits written by Canadian Jack Pittman. It was later recorded by Bing Crosby, Elvis Presley, and the Ventures. Other notable hits include Hawaiian Hospitality, I Want to Learn to Speak Hawaiian, Pretty Red Hibiscus, May Day is Lay Day in Hawaii, and What Aloha Means. In the hit Hawaiian Hospitality, she sings of meeting a handsome dark-eyed local on Waikiki Beach and his Hawaiian personality. In I Want to Learn to Speak Hawaiian, she sings of her desire to learn the Hawaiian language so she can say the sweetest things and do the hula too. In 1948, she joined the Aloha Week organization and was responsible for producing and narrating hundreds of hula shows with performers such as Daddy Bray, Bill Ali'iloa Lincoln, and Vicky E. Rodriguez, her cousin, and others. She also narrated television coverage of the annual Kamehameha Day Parade for years into the 1970s for KITV. Stevens was also talented at the crafts, and in 1971 authored a book, The Hawaiian Quilt, which was an instruction guide manual to the Hawaiian quilt.
Ladies and gentlemen, 2013 Hawaiian Music Hall of Fame inductee. We welcome, representing Napua Stevens. The award will be accepted by Scott Liloa Stevens Poide. Scott, before Nina says any few words, would you like to come up and say aloha? Because she's going to sing beautiful songs with Bob Nelson. It's going to be great. Sir.
I just want to thank the Hawaiian Music Hall of Fame for remembering my mom with this great award. And I want to thank all my ohana for coming out today, wherever they are. Mahalo.
And 2 treasures to represent Napua Stevens Poide in this beautiful Hawaiian Music Hall of Fame time. The wonderful composer, pianist, Mr. Bob Nelson. And ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the beautiful, wonderful, everlasting vocal quality of Nina Keali'i Vahamana.
can't wait for our reunion in August. Yes. Beyond the reef, where the sea is dark and cold, my love has gone, and our dreams grow. There'll be no tears, there'll be no regretting. Will he remember me? Will he forget? I'll send 1,000 flowers where the trade winds blow. I'll send my lonely heart, for I love him so. Someday I know he'll come back again to me. Till then my heart will be beyond the reef. I'll send 1,000 flowers where the trade winds blow. I'll send my lonely heart, for I love him so. Someday I know he'll come back again to me. Till then my heart will be beyond the reef. Till then my heart will be beyond the Thank you, Bob. You're so marvelous. Just have a lovely feel. Thank you, thank you. This, of all the songs that Auntie Napua recorded, and there were many, is my ultimate favorite. I loved her beautiful contralto voice as she sang this. And I know Mama did too. They were sparring partners, those two. They had such a wonderful time together. My goodness, they were so naughty. I will remember you in the cold of a winter's night, and should I be ever blue, I will sing this song of you. Please spare your tears for me. Darling, smile when I go away on that sunny steamer day. I'll wear your ginger lace. When the winds of winter come crying through the darkness, your lovely voice will come to me. Even though in spirit across the mighty ocean, crying Hawaii, Hawaii. When I come back again in the spring of another year, my darling, far across the sea, please be waiting there for me. When the winds of winter come crying through the dark, the mighty ocean, crying Hawaii, Hawaii. When I come back again in the spring of another year, my darling, far across the sea, please be waiting there for me. My darling, far across the sea, please be waiting there for me. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Bob Nelson.
Ladies
Thank
and
you
gentlemen,
kindly.
Nina Kelly Ivahamana. And Nina, I know you have a story. Because, you know, I just know you have a story about Napua Stevens.
Well, I do have several. She and Mama, as I mentioned briefly earlier, were very, very close cousins. And they produced and they narrated and they did all of those wonderful things for Aloha Week so long ago and on so very, very many occasions. They were quite a team. And my favorite recollection was having Auntie Napua come over to the home, and they would talk about the show, and they would do this, that, and the other. And but they spoke in Hawaiian most of the time, and this was just so very beautiful to hear these two beautiful women, brilliant women, really, speak their native tongue and speak it so eloquently and so easily. It just flowed, and it was just, that was my fondest recollection of the two ladies together. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Bob Nelson's composition. When you see Honolulu by moonlight, you will be in heaven by the sea. Every breeze, every wave will whisper, you are
Nina Kelly Vahamana, Leilani Kupahu Marino, and Bob Nelson. With Napua Stevens Poire.
Napua Stevens, probably more than anyone else, epitomized a grace that was the ideal. If you ever met Napua, you thought that is what a graceful Hawaiian woman of a particular class or stature would be. She is the transition between a pre-war oligarchy, if you would, Hawaii, an older Hawaii that was a plantation-based economy run by a limited group of people, but tied to the culture and tied to the land in a real special way. So she had that beautiful hapahaole mixed look, but it wasn't just a look. She spoke Hawaiian. She came from a family in Kohala that was rooted in the culture, but she was also American. And so amongst the things she did was she was a composer and a performer and the first woman on television in Hawaii. And that grace, that grounding in the culture, made her the most popular person on television in the 1950s. If you think about Napua Stevens, you couldn't get a better representative for that classy elegance than Nina Kelly Iwahamana. They were, in a way, sister spirits. I think they might have also been related, so that might have had something to do with it. But in any event, when Nina takes the stage, she doesn't walk like regular people. She almost floats with a grace that is something you can't ignore. And she was accompanied by Bob Nelson, who is an award-winning composer in his own right. And so those two, who both came through entertainment and show business in the 40s and the 50s and the 60s, more than anyone else that we could think of, were excellent representatives of Napua Stevens and the spirit that she had in her work.
What Hawaii governor's campaign slogan was quiet but effective? The answer is George Ariyoshi, Hawaii's longest-serving governor. There you have it. Remember, if you get an email demanding personal information that can jeopardize your money, don't panic. Call 911 and then delete it. I'm Brickwood Galuteria. Join me next week for another episode of Kupuna Power. Aloha.